The most hated, misunderstood, underestimated operating system of all times. Windows 8 or 8.1 arguably was the biggest, but not the greatest change in Microsoft's Windows release history, apart from Windows Vista, of course. Over one night, their target audience, their goals, and their visions changed. Many people hated it, but there's a catch. I think that Windows 8 is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Maybe more like Dr. Desktop and Mr. Tablet? It had some identification problem for sure, and wasn't great at being neither of the two. Picture this, it's 2012. You've paid 100 or so bucks to upgrade your PC, and you're greeted with this, let's call it a mess? It feels familiar, but different, like deja vu. You accidentally swipe your finger from the right to the left of the touchpad, and this thing called the charm bar pops up. You click wherever it's written start, only to wish you hadn't. Live tiles and a weird looking desktop app. Peculiar menus and animations. Alright, let's start from the beginning. Did Windows 8 deserve the hate? Well, there are three main categories to uncover to reach our answer. Let's start with an overview. Windows 8 brought some of the features that we take for granted today in Windows 10 and 11, with new and fresh start menu, Metro apps and UI, NFC support, and more. The transition was too sharp. Some elements on your desktop felt familiar, some not so much, like the removal of the start button in Windows 8. Yeah, that was a very weird decision. I don't know why they did it. The icons were similar, and the taskbar was there. Actually, no. Well, it depends how you use your computer. Number 1. Clutter. Compared to Windows 7, Windows 8 came with too many pre-installed apps, also depending on your PC's manufacturer, even more than what you're seeing in the video. Just too much stuff. Like even looking at it is overwhelming for 2012 standards. You have menus, under menus, subcategories leading you into a labyrinth of apps that you'll definitely get lost in, but also some similar ones on the side. You have two or three apps that basically do the same thing. Calculator, the one is there, photos, music, video, I don't know what these do in any case, but you have the media player just there, sitting there, like you can use that, it's there. And there's the Internet Explorer, like this icon looks blue and flat, but there's another one which is what you're used to use, the Internet Explorer 11. I don't know. They're the same things, but different UI, one for tablet, one for desktop. And if you use the tablet one in your desktop, it's just confusing. Number 2, unfamiliarity. We went from this beauty here, simple, rapid, clean in most cases, colorful and intuitive, just look at it, mesmerizing, to this. Over one single update, weird apps, new navigation gestures, a new system to be learned from scratch. To be honest, if you had a tablet, it was quite nice to use, but most people didn't. I'll come to that later on. Well, for the keyboard and mouse users, it's more than normal that people felt unfamiliar. The combination of Metro apps and desktop apps just makes matters worse. There is inconsistency of the general UI, some stuff are old, some look new, it was a mess. Why would you prefer this music player while there is the Windows Media Player? They do the exact same thing. Same valid for the photos. Windows Photo Viewer, cool. You can just slide through your photos, but there is the Metro app too. It's just not for keyboard and mouse users. Fine for tablets, but not for the most. Third, and the most important one, wrong timing. The iPad 2 got released in 2011 after the first ever iPad, and people started loving these touchscreen devices. They were simple, intuitive, and innovative. Believe it or not, these were the connotation of Apple back then, and I'm talking to you, Tim Cook. At the same time, the Android world was gaining grounds in the tablet industry too. Samsung came with the Galaxy Tabs, Asus, Lenovo, HP all followed the footsteps of Apple. These Android companies have all one thing in common, I'd say, well, in most cases. They create the devices and borrow the software from Google and then refine it themselves, like TouchWiz. But I don't think that's a good example how a refined UI should be. But anyway. Apple, on the other side, did all their own. They did the tablets themselves, and they did also the user interface, the operating system too. But it's not a fair comparison with Microsoft. On the contrary, Microsoft was kind of different. They didn't make as much hardware as they do now, like the Surface Pro, Duo, that folding phone thingy they did, which failed. They have pens, mice, keyboards, and many other stuff. Like, they're much more active today than in the past, that's for sure. With the Surface Laptop tablet series in 2012, they also rolled out Windows RT, which they rushed to push it in the market so they could get their slice. Microsoft decided to release a Windows version optimized for their touchscreen devices as they saw that as the future, completely or partially ignoring the desktop market. The traditional desktop PCs were very much left out of the game. Windows 8 was neither good for tablets nor for desktops. It was sitting in somewhere in between and did nothing excellent for it being interesting for people and worth the upgrade. And honestly, whose freaking idea was it to remove the start button? Well, to give them some credit, they actually brought it back in Windows 8.1, which is basically what you're seeing on the screen right now. And some consider Windows 8.1 to be Windows 9, which got skipped by Microsoft directly to Windows 10. But the damage was done. Roughly 85% of the market was dominated by desktops in 2012. Touchscreen devices together didn't even make 15% roughly in the February of that same year. Phones were even more popular than tablets. Later, Windows 8 also became the most popular base for the Windows Phone, partnering with Nokia, well, actually buying Nokia to do it, and creating the Lumia series. But that's a topic for another video, and they lost $7 billion. Wonder how. In the operating system markets, Windows was the leader, and their users nearly almost used desktops. And I think by this point you get my point, don't you? Long story short, Microsoft misunderstood what their target audience wanted and focused too much on gaining market share where they weren't familiar with. I kind of believe that Microsoft went too hard with innovation. It was the wrong time, wrong audience, and wrong implementation that led it to fail into obscurity. There was a spark of hope. They took the feedback and improved it with a successor, Windows 10. Looking at Windows 8 retrospectively, I'd say its core tablet features and the enrichment it had was just better than the iPad, like multitasking and Microsoft Office. Like, you could do much more with it, and it was genuinely better, I'd say. But compared to Windows 7, which was where their target audience, what they actually used most, came from, it was harder to use, complicated, and heavy, which led people to switch back to Windows 7 and stick with it for a very long time. So the negative connotation of Windows 8 could not be fixed with Windows 8.1, and Windows 10 just became its successor. Thanks a lot for watching.